Hello and welcome to the James Worthy episode of the Hoop Theory Podcast, aka episode 42. My name is Logan Wertman, and joining me as always is my good friend Jacob Roth. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going good. Just going great.
Yeah, you're wearing that Al Horford jersey in honor of 42.
Witten found it on purpose, so that's good.
Yeah, we just, right before we got on here, we had a long discussion about who we were going to use for 42. We had some, honorable mentions, but we ultimately ended up going with Big Game James Worthy. So
Nate Thurmond was brought up for all the
Nate Thurmond, Kevin Love, Spencer Haywood,
and then I said Al Horford more, not as a joke, but like just because I had to. It's my job.
No, yeah, definitely. But so for this episode, we're going to talk about a little bit of draft stuff. I know you guys just, if you are faithful listeners, listen to about 2 hours worth of us sitting through the NBA draft. Just 16 picks though, so that's as far as we made it. But our first team, our teams, for those who don't know, Celtics and Nuggets. The Celtics were the first one to pick at 25, but they ended
supposed to be.
Yeah, so they ended up trading that pick. It sounds like the reason why is because they were really wanting Omax Prosper, Olivier Maxence Prosper, which I love that nickname, by the way, that you can just call him Omax. That's amazing. I hope that he works out in the league, honestly, because I love a name like that. But he went at 24, so pick right before. And then the Celtics, wow. Because on NBA.com it says it was the Grizzlies pick, but that was because it was originally the Grizzlies, then it was the Celtics, and then they traded it to the Pistons. But on NBA.com it just shows Grizzlies straight to the Pistons. They ended up taking Marcus Sasser and trading back for 31, I want to say.
31 in a future second.
Yeah, and then you guys didn't use 31 either. You flipped that also.
Back to 38, and then picked up 2 more seconds. So pretty much what happened is we traded away Marcus Smart and got 5 second-round picks in Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, and
Jordan Walsh.
Yeah, Jordan Walsh is one of the picks that you used.
But we do actually have him.
Yeah.
He is a Celtic.
Yeah, Jordan Walsh from Arkansas. So, that was the only pick you guys came away with, right?
Yes, that's the only new name that will be a Celtic. One thing, though, that I do think is interesting is Brad Stevens did an interview the next day and broke down how many of these blockbuster trades have you seen where it seems close, but then a team just throws in 2 second-round picks. And not that those guys don't have value, but he said, even when I was a coach, he in the interview, he said it, that he was I just looked at second round guys as it'll be some time. They'll have to grow. They'll have to feed. It'll take a lot. But the asset that can be a second round pick from the GM side of things now, I'm paraphrasing for him, obviously, but he said they're extremely valuable. So he's we kind of stockpiled them. And it was a very Boston sports move. I don't remember the last time the Patriots didn't draft down or trade down on draft day. It literally felt like I was watching Bill Belichick. Trade back, trade down. Same. My brain, yeah. Anyway, but they always trade back and pick up seconds in the next year and barely ever pick in the first round. And I just was this is just deja vu. It's literally what they do every single year. But
then I guess that keeps you stockpiled for a year where you want to move up. You could theoretically put stuff together.
And I don't think they're done this offseason. I don't think. Because Grant Williams is probably not going to be a Celtic if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
But him
What's his contract? Or is he a free agent?
It's still getting decided.
Is he a restricted free agent? Do you know?
I believe it's restricted.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Yeah, he has a team. Yeah, he's a restricted free agent. Qualifying offer for.
Oh, he denied the 4-year $50 million before this past season.
Oh, that was a.
They offered him the 4-year $50 million.
Okay.
And that's what he turned down.
Yeah, so I'm guessing he probably won't end up. Well, I don't know. His stock or his value might be quite a bit lower now than it was then. So
yes,
after his antics throughout the season this year. But yeah, so that's the Celtics stuff. Nuggets. ended up taking 3 picks yet again, just like we did last year. So at 29, and I mentioned this last episode how I am trying to be like the shadow GM or ghost GM for the Nuggets. I'm keeping track of who I draft, keeping the receipts. This is the second year in a row where I actually picked the same player that the Nuggets chose to take at 29, which was Julian Strawther. I didn't end up doing this for the second round picks like I did last year, but in the second round, there was Jalen Pickett at 32 from Penn State. Julian Strawther's out of Gonzaga, by the way. And then at 37, we drafted Hunter Tyson from Clemson. So Hunter Tyson's the only one that I didn't really know. But Jalen Pickett, he's like a really old school guard. I've heard a lot of comparisons to like Mark Jackson or Kyle Lowry. Like he's a bigger guard. He plays like a big guard or a small big man sometimes. But he's like a really smart, heady playmaker. So I like that. Maybe him getting some time as a backup point guard, just us searching for, some backup facilitating and ball handling will be necessary. So it could be an arms race between him and Colin Gillespie for that backup spot this NBA season. But the guy we got at 29, I feel like, he could get the most time potentially. I don't know if any of these guys will be in the rotation. I would bet on them not being in the rotation this upcoming season. But Julian Strawther at least gives us some more depth at the 3-and-D wing spot and emphasis on the 3 there. He's one of the better shooters in the draft. So definitely happy for that. That was the reason why I was definitely gravitated toward him. And then also we got another really good shooter at 37 with Hunter Tyson. Also, by the way, all 3 of these guys can shoot, which is great. I love it when you can get like everybody on your team can shoot. So, and everybody that we have under contract right now, I believe, can shoot because DeAndre Jordan is a free agent right now. But yeah, so love the Nuggets moves there, honestly. I'm really liking the second year now of Calvin Booth as the GM making those draft time decisions. But yeah, so overall, I thought it was a pretty good draft for the Nuggets. I don't know if you feel the same about the Celtics or not, if you're happy about what happened.
I'm okay with it. Like, there's no... I like the guy we went and got. He's a win now type of prospect. He's a little bit older. Mm-hmm. He can fit in and play a role now, which I like that we're doing that type of thing, as opposed to this look way to the future. Because just because our window's still wide open, doesn't mean we need to mess around with it all that much. And I'm excited to see what the rest of the off season brings, because I feel like there's the team that we have now is not going to be the team we end up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true.
And people have been going into the pick and roll with Porzingis, and Celtics are one of the best guard halves of a pick and roll team in the NBA. Or really? The point part, not the guard part.
Ball handler.
The ball handler half we had very good ball handlers in terms of efficiency in the pick and roll, but our bigs weren't as much, which if you look at the bigs that we have, it kind of makes sense a little bit that Rob Williams, if it's not an oop dunk.
Yeah, he's strictly lob threat, while Al's strictly a pop guy.
Threat. And so Kristaps can do a little bit of both, and it allows us to do a whole lot of just kind of
more dynamic
people around, more dynamic at the big spot. Still worried about how we're going to make the guard stuff work, because Devin White,
Derek White, that's the third
dang time. It. Derek White. In my defense, on my Twitter feed, there is a video of football playing. But that's not. It's gosh dang it. Derek White has had stretches where he's like him, and then he's had stretches where he's really not him and is almost unplayable. Mm-hmm. So I'm just worried about the consistency of that. But I don't know. I'd like to see a Derrick Rose fill in the gap that. Just because that's a veteran guy, gives us the grit part again, whatever you want to say. Another veteran presence, can fill that point guard spot, doesn't have to play all the time. With the Grant Williams money gone, you can give him what I feel like is going to be a market value for him. I don't think you're going to be I need to get a good deal on him type of thing. And he's actually a point guard. Because all the people that are the Celtics keep getting rumors around, the Bruce Brown rumor, and they're not. They can play point guard, but they're not a point guard.
Like Marcus Smart. again.
Yeah, but I would just like a point guard. I haven't had a point guard since like Rondo. But Pritchard, I think, will step up and play a lot more. I think that's part of the future cooking plans. Because after he made that like kind of public request, hey, I'd like to be playing somewhere else next year. That's when all of the momentum to move like Malcolm Brogdon started. So like he walked into Brad Stevens' office and was like, "It's me or Brogdon." And Brad Stevens, I think, picked Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense for a long-term view, but
for a long-term view, for a money view, I'm also curious to see what we're gonna hear when it comes to the injury, like because there's still no confirmation on like which injury it was that broke down the Clippers trade.
Yeah, I'm not sure either if it's like an active injury or if it's like just...
Or if they just figured out who he was as a player. It's just weird to me that it got that far.
No, I mean like his injury issues for projecting forward, how he's probably not going to recover. Like his career won't last very much longer, basically. Yeah. That type of thing.
And then the thing that I'm also very...
who he was as a player.
What?
Just the line of they figured out who he was as a player.
Well, no, like what he does on the court is great, but like he's never been a ride this guy for. I mean, and that's why I think he took less money in Boston is because he was fully aware of like I'm not a guy that can like I'd rather elongate my career and not play 30 minutes a game.
Has he taken less money?
He took less money to go to Boston for sure.
No, he got traded to Boston. He's still on the same contract he was with the Pacers. He's still getting paid like $22.5 million this past year, at least, or this upcoming year.
For some reason, I thought that the Celtics extended him right when he got there.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I assume if they did, then it is lower. It is much lower than in the 20s. It's probably.
Oh, so no, I'm just crazy. I'm just delusional.
So I don't know how much he probably has this last year left on his deal.
22 and a half left, and that's it.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought we gave him an extension that was for less, or maybe that was just talks.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
but yeah, he came to Boston for less playing time. That's for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, so the other thing I wanted to mention from the draft though was, Jet Howard was the surprise pick at 11, but the big surprise was Cam Whitmore falling. He fell all the way to 20th. Which is just nuts from not even 2 months ago. He was on a lot of mocks at the 5 spot, like getting drafted at 5th. So it's kind of crazy that he fell all the way to 20th. I still don't really know why.
So apparently it was a combination of the injuries that people kind of knew about, but apparently he didn't have any good workouts. None of his workouts were good. This is all NBA rumor mill. There's not, you know what I mean? But it's,
yeah.
Apparently that because teams that didn't really look at him because they didn't think he'd be there, but the teams he did go actually do stuff, his workouts were not great.
Yeah, kind of like the Brandon Miller thing, but it didn't end up hurting Brandon Miller. He still went second.
Yeah,
apparently he had the worst workout ever with the Hornets, and that's why people think he was just intentionally trying to tank his stock because he didn't want to go to Charlotte. And that's why he was saying all that stuff about Jordan. And
that's also a Jordan thing to do. People were saying, I think you said it even during our podcast, that might be the worst way to actually get drafted by Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Because he would be the guy that would be like, nah, get this child over here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he might take the challenge. But,
but there's no real rumors or anything on Whitmore. It's just kind of injuries was the thing that people kind of knew about, how much do we need to care? But he's also confused because on draft day he's like, I'm healthy. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, true. And also Jaime Jaquez Jr. ended up going to the Heat. That was a pretty good pick that we both liked.
I don't think he ends up wearing a Heat jersey ever, maybe. He's a very Heat guy, but if Dame ends up in Miami, Jaime is not a Miami Heat. He's not a member of Heat culture.
Probably not. I would assume, just because of the young assets you have to throw into a deal like that. Which he's not even that young. But the other thing, though, was I don't know if you kept watching the draft after we ended.
I kept it up on the side, but I was not actively an active participant in watching.
Yeah, so I was trying to watch it, but this was by far the worst draft broadcast I've ever tried to watch because once they got to the 20s, they stopped showing the picks. they just stopped covering the draft, really. They started just talking about the people who have been picked, like going into like a deeper dive on each guy and bringing them in and interviewing them. And there was no sort of anything showing you like, oh, this is somebody, like who's picking right now and who are they selecting or anything. They didn't show anybody walking up on stage getting drafted. They just
That's crazy.
completely stopped covering what was happening. It was insane. I was like, why am I watching this? I don't understand this. Why do I have to check Twitter and check like these websites to try to figure out if the Nuggets have picked yet and who they've selected? I'm trying to watch the draft on ESPN. Who is this for? I don't understand who this is for.
I also thought, respectfully, which one did you watch? Were you ESPN or ABC's?
I couldn't find any other option on YouTube TV.
Oh, well, that's because ESPN. Yeah, that would make sense. Why YouTube? Because ABC, I think, only did the first round, from what I understand. Because Stephen A. was on that one.
I had Stephen A. Whatever Stephen A. was on, that's what I had.
I think he was on ABC, but I might be mixing him up. Anyway, I'll look it up and we'll get... The desk for ESPN's was terrible.
I like JJ, but I guess I didn't listen to it either because we were
JJ,
talking.
But so like I saw clips after, they were just respectfully bad.
Yeah, I didn't really see any of it.
I think it was Monica McNutt told JJ Redick an average shooter during his time in the NBA.
Oh no, Monica McNutt is the not sideline reporter, but that.
Oh, sorry, it was Andrea Carter. Yeah, what?
She seems serious too.
I follow a page that's called Awful Announcing on Twitter, and it was everywhere. It was literally just like not that clip, but just blunders from that broadcast were everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that's the only one I can really think of that I saw. But I mean, there's been some really bad ones in the past, like the Kendrick Perkins not being able to say Moses Moody's name. But that one was great.
No, it's just crazy to me the difference between the NFL and NBA drafts. I get the NFL is a multiple day event, but the NFL has 5 more rounds. And like the NFL, I feel like even does like a little bit of a better job on like making each guy still have a pick. Like, and this was the worst year, like you said. But no, we talked about like how like the NBA draft has been ruined by the Twitter getting beat out by Twitter and the spam and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch really. It was just in the background passively. So it was perfect for what I was doing because I like looked over and it would like finally give a name of like, okay, cool. Go back to what I was doing. But it was.
Yeah, in the 20s, they wouldn't ever. It would just be every once in a while they would scroll showing you the picks that have been taken since the last time they've told you, but it was no like right now here is the pick, like this is the team that is picking and this is who they are selecting. Like there was no timer. Like it feels like it's very simple to just have a graphic like that up on the screen at all times when you're covering the draft, but I guess not because I don't know. They didn't do that. And that was the first time I've ever like just stopped watching the draft because I was like, what is the point of like, why am I even watching this at this point? I'm getting nothing out of this other than just kind of watching some interviews from Anthony Black and some other people, listening to Grady Dick talk about wanting to be friends with Drake and, and stuff like that. But also Fat Joe came on. The rapper Fat Joe came on with Stephen A. And he gave the great line that in the draft, he likes dick from Kansas. But yeah. So anyways, that's the draft, really. I don't think we need to spend any more time on that. Moving on into what else we have today. Jacob mentioned right before we started recording that he wanted to talk about the Sixers delusion.
What else do you call it? Respectfully, that's delusional. Like how it's the value that they put on Tobias Harris for all those that don't understand, like what is going on. So the one that I saw that this isn't as delusional, but apparently this is total BS. The Sixers never considered this. It was a 3-team trade. The Mavericks got DeAndre Ayton. The Suns got Tobias Harris, and the 76ers would get Christian Wood on a sign-and trade for 3 years, Maxi Kleba or Reggie Bullock. One of the two. It'd be either or. And then some draft capital. Is there a world where the Sixers wouldn't want like more bodies for Tobias Harris? Right?
What?
So I'm just confused how like the Sixers were the ones that didn't like this trade. They send out is Tobias Harris, and in return they get Christian Wood, Maxi Kleba, or Reggie Bullock.
I don't know. For some teams, I would argue I would rather have Christian Wood than Tobias Harris.
Straight up. Just straight up.
For some
on top
teams.
of getting, for being a humble third member of the Triple Dirks, Maxi Kleba's turned into a pretty decent basketball player. Not insane, but like he's a net positive. And then Reggie Bullock. Either or, whichever one they got.
Shooter, yeah. If they would have got the both the bigs, I guess I see just like the stylistic fit of like you have Embiid and then you're adding two more bigs that like, you know, when
hasn't
you have
stopped
Embiid,
him before.
What do you mean?
I would say like when they got like they had Andre Drummond, Dwight Howard, and Joel Embiid.
Oh yeah,
all on the same team.
They need to have a backup, which like I think Paul Reed has kind of been put into.
And he's done a very
now.
Good job of it for the Sixers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know if they really need to go get a Christian Wood and a Maxi Kleba because I don't know if they want to. Because if they do that, then they're going to be rolling out consistently double big lineups, you know. And I don't know if that's what Daryl Morey really wants.
So then, but apparently before the draft, the asking prices or what the Sixers were asking for Tobias Harris was crazy.
Yeah.
Like multiple first round picks and like a fringe all-star type of player.
Which is weird because that is the max of what Tobias Harris is already. Is a fringe all-star. Like at his best, that is what he is.
And I don't know what's real or what's not. Like I don't know, but I'm just like, that's crazy.
So I would like to get somebody who is as good, equally as good as Tobias Harris back, and I would also like some draft picks on top of that, first rounders. Like that is basically what they're asking for.
And I get that Daryl Morey has always been a very like, I've got to win the trade and it can't be a question. Like he's been very.
And he always has done this where his asking price is astronomically higher than he knows that anybody will say yes to, but that's just his bargaining tactic.
He just does it. Mm-hmm. If I start at a zillion, getting down to $1 million is not that bad.
Yeah.
But I have to start just so disgustingly high that it's delusional.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't have another word to put on it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that unless something dramatically changes, it sounds like James Harden's kind of happy-ish or fine with what's going on.
But he might. It sounds like he's coming back to the Sixers from everything I've heard recently.
I don't know if we'll see a whole lot of movement when it comes to Philadelphia, but in terms of what the roster looks like, I don't know if a whole lot changes. But that was just crazy to me. The whole value I don't even know. You're probably right. They probably didn't think they had this like, oh, we've got this guy that we're going to get crazy value for. But it just was such an insane amount that I was not prepared for. Like, wait, did I misread that?
I was also a little confused by the Suns wanting Tobias Harris. I know they're trying to get DeAndre Ayton gone. Like they're trying to get rid of him
for more. Like the Sixers, not near as bad. The Suns are the hyper version of we have 4 guys or 3 guys we feel great about. The rest of the team either isn't even under contract yet, they don't exist yet, or they just need bodies that are like. So if I'm the Suns, I'm going to try to get like 2 role players for DeAndre Ayton, or maybe even 3. Like you're just going to go and try to get volume or quantity instead of quality because you've already got the quality on your roster. So trading for another piece of like Tobias Harris is a fine basketball player, but not what you need in a weird spot that he's like this 3-4.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the positional fit is kind of weird.
This weird problem of having 3 guys that play the 2 to the 4, not exactly, but like Katie's going to have to play the 4 for him, which is fine. But like,
Yeah.
D-Book's not running the 4. But it's just this weird thing where I just could see that being a problem. And then also shout out to Tobias Harris's dad for saying that the Sixers aren't using his son like the assassin scorer he is.
Assassin scorer. I mean, he's a solid scorer. But I mean, that is like his main strength for sure, is like rhythm scoring.
I don't think so. It's also his son. That's fine. Personally, I don't think so. The reason I say that is Tobias is an assassin scorer. They can't stop him.
I don't think so. What is he responding to?
Oh, sorry. Michael Barr said, I'm probably going to get in trouble with the 76ers in the league here. Do they use your son the way they should? Oh. And then his dad says, personally, I don't think so. The reason I say that, well, Tobias is an assassin scorer. I mean, they can't stop him. Nobody in the league can stop him. He's proven that over his career, even when he was with the Clippers, he was an assassin scorer. Traded him to the Sixers. Ever since then, the Sixers, they just put him in the corner.
Because they want the ball in Joel Embiid's hands most of the time, which is understandable.
League MVP, yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, I mean it's Tobias. I mean he's gotten better last year for
I found
that role, catching and shooting.
This is what it was. The Cavs were told that they would need to give up Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, and a draft pick for Tobias Harris.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I saw, too, that I was like...
Okay, I knew that there was something crazy.
Yeah, that was the insane one. The Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley.
That had actual assets attached to it. That's what it was.
So 2 players that I would rather...
Sixers. Why are they're just doing it again?
Yep. 2 players that I would rather have... I would rather have Evan Mobley... Everyone. Not a person in this world would tell you that they would rather have Tobias Harris than Evan Mobley. By itself.
If they do, they've never watched basketball. Actually haven't.
Yeah, and I would say
how people on TikTok think we are. That's how crazy delusional you have to be.
And at least 50% of basketball people would take Jarrett Allen over Tobias Harris.
Yeah, depending on what you need, but
depending on the team. I think there's a lot of people that would rather have that piece on their team. So you're asking for both of them and a first-round pick, right? That was the trade?
Yeah.
So
what's also weird is I feel like, let's say they're even, and it just depends on what you need when it comes to Jarrett Allen and Tobias Harris. Let's say they're in a perfect world, they're dead even value wise, and you just want to fit your squad better. The Sixers are on the side that wants Tobias Harris instead of Jarrett Allen because of what they already have.
Yeah, exactly. Positionally.
And just role wise, it's just wild.
I think that's kind of what he's factoring into that, though, I guess, is saying that, maybe these guys are better, but they fit our team less. So we don't want, their value to us is diminished, and therefore it's equal to Tobias Harris, But that's some crazy math.
That is astrology math. Astrology math right there. Mm-hmm. No disrespect to people that do astrology. I respect the rain, but... Also, I went garage sailing. I forgot to say this before we started. I got a new cup. We went to a bunch of garage sales
garage sailing
this weekend.
Mm-hmm. I can't really tell what it is.
Oh, it's an original Weight Watchers cup.
Oh, from what, 1990s probably?
I have no idea, but looking at it, yeah, probably. Wow. When the mug is full, when full, mug holds 4 glasses or 32 ounces. So I'm going to take it to work, I think. It's going to be my new cup at work.
Nice. That'll be good. Sorry to all the audio listeners.
Okay, but I'll describe it to them perfectly. It is, those Jerry cups? Those, that cup that says, there's, that meme account, something Jerry. Is it
Jerry?
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like that coloring, kind of, but there's yellow. It just Google 1990s color palette, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's 80s. 80s and the 90s?
Could be. Yeah, I don't know.
And there's, only women, actually, caricatures on the cup. One's riding a bike, and 2 are walking. But
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so moving on from Tobias Harris, was there anything else we wanted to talk about other than the changes to the awards and All-NBA for next season?
Oh, finally the positionless thing. That's nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like that. I get the, like, a lot of people's reaction to it was like Bill Simmons and some other people, like, they didn't like it because it's getting rid of like the traditional, 5-man lineup. Like, you want your all NBA team to actually work as like a five-man lineup, which I agree with. And I think that the correct answer of how they should do it is not that complicated and should be like, they should have made it in between. Like, I don't think it's as black and white as people think it has to be, where it's either, you have to have two guards, two forwards, and a center, and like people only fit in one of those boxes. Like, there's people, just, you have to nail them down to one of those, or the other option being completely positionless, just straight up the five best players. Like, it's very simple to me, at least, to just kind of vote on it, like, as like your people make their all NBA team however they like to do it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do it positionally, like they have guards, forwards in the center, and they have the freedom to put people where they want. And it does, like, in terms of the voting, it doesn't matter where people put them positionally. It just matters how many first teams they got on, how many second teams they got on, and so on and so forth. And then once you have everybody's total amount of votes, then you can put people into the slots that they are eligible for. The highest person possible gets in here as, the person with the most votes. Where is he eligible to be placed at? Is he guard and forward?
Fantasy basketball literally does this like
Yeah.
every.
So
Yeah.
it's just like they can be put at multiple positions. Like, just take like, look at, I don't know, like, if they need an official way to like regulate it, just look at the official rosters, or like Basketball Reference, at like the lineups used throughout the year and the different like positions they have played throughout the season.
And you
And
need at least 30% played at a position, or 40% or something like that. 40% of your usage has to be at a position. So you can't have some, like, 40% would be a good number, because then no,
I just think
30%.
if they have any minutes logged at a position, they are eligible to be put in at that position. Really, maybe they have like a certain cutoff, but like, the goal is to have them to be versatile. Like, they can
Be the
slot
best
in at
five.
either. Yeah,
Yeah.
best five, but still trying to keep the structure of like a team, because like,
Because if the best five players in the NBA, let's just say it's Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, we'll pretend in a crazy
all
world
three of
that.
those guys should be on the first team probably. And if
Yes, but no, I'm saying, let's say Evan Mobley turns into an animal next year, just to make the argument of the worst case scenario, where there's a world where the five best players in the NBA happen to all be fours or fives.
oh, okay,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
mm-hmm.
That won't happen. That's not real life. But like, just thinking of the nightmare scenario, how would you approach that one? Would you just be like, Jokic, I guess, kind of plays point guard sometimes?
Well, I guess it's just, if there's not a guard that's even close to being as good as,
Mm-hmm.
one of the five big guys, then I guess maybe, if you can try to position it where like some of the big men that have more guard skills. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there should be
I think
some
that's the scenario that
positionality
people
to
are
it
quote unquote. I think that's the scenario that people are quote unquote scared about. Not that that'll
with the
ever happen.
positionless.
Yes,
Or,
with the positionless.
yeah, and I agree with that. That's why I don't think it should be straight up positionless. I think there should be some positionality to it, because I don't know. Like, I shouldn't say I don't think it should be positionless. I just understand people's concern with it. You know what I mean? I understand people who will want it to be still positional. I also understand if we just did like the best five players, that would work too. I don't really care, I guess, overall.
Well, no, it's literally just because Jokic and Embiid aren't on both on first team All NBA, and they
Yeah.
should be. The
Okay.
past 4 years, 3 years.
I think this is the best way to put it. If you had to make a starting five, just like you make a starting five to play basketball and be the best team possible with the current players in the NBA, you would probably have
Embiid at the 5, Jokic at the 4.
some combination of that. and Giannis at the 3, I guess.
And then Marcus Smart at the 1 and Jason Tatum at the 2.
I would say Stephen Curry at the 1 and maybe Luka or Jason Tatum.
Luka wouldn't work with that team.
Well, okay.
Oh, sorry. Just skill, yes. Sorry. I got into like the
I guess I phrased it wrong then. But I guess because the skill part when you're trying to build a team, like you have to take in like the talents or whatever. Yeah. But also it should just be like it should work positionally, but you don't need to think about it skill wise, I guess. That's a kind of a hard thing, a hard exercise to put yourself into.
I was being facetious.
No, but so it isn't. I don't think there's like a clear answer for it, but at the same time, I feel like it's not as complicated as people think it needs to be if you're trying to make it positional. Like you can.
Is it LeBron?
What is LeBron
at that 2?
No, I think I would take Durant before I would take LeBron. I would take Booker maybe.
Booker would be a good one.
Mm-hmm. I would take Luka before I would take LeBron.
Is it Marcus Smart for the defense?
No, he's going to be playing. He's going to be playing point guard this year with Ja.
Only for 25 games.
Yeah. Well, most likely.
Also, since we touched on Ja a little bit, the Grizzlies GM, we're just like, 25 games is probably about right.
What do you mean the Grizzlies GM said that?
Zach Kleiman.
Yeah.
Was like I thought he said, oh no, but he challenges now. What the heck? Oh, he challenged Ja. No, he like had a quote and was like, 25 games is probably the correct suspension. That's just a weird thing to put out there. I think it was the GM.
Well, I don't know. Did he just like float that out there, or did somebody ask him in an interview or something? Because I feel like those are different.
Like a political answer.
How is that not a political answer? That's like. He's being diplomatic toward the league. He's not criticizing the league.
Towards the league. My more thing is, I just feel like it would have been like that's just the league's decision, and that's what they went. Like, I feel like you would go like a player diplomatic than a league diplomatic.
Well, I guess I don't really see how that's like being.
It's not. It just interesting to me. I feel like. If I was in that seat, I probably wouldn't have been like, league got it right. Ja deserved 25 games.
What if you did think that? That might be his opinion. I don't know.
Well, no, and I'm sure it is, but I just would be like, that's just the decision the league made, and we're going to do our best as a team to make it through the 25 and be ready for when Ja comes back.
Yeah, I mean, the team, they're the ones who suspended him the first time. I think they care about it too. They're also like think he should be suspended. So I guess it's not like surprising to hear that. And
I also wonder how long that they've known it's going to be 25 games.
Yeah, I wonder that too.
Because the NBA, which I did like, was like, we're going to wait until after the finals to do anything with Ja. And that was like, because somebody asked, and it might have been Adam Silver, honestly. And he just was like, we're just going to wait till after the finals.
Yeah, he came on TV multiple times to say that, and it was like that. I agree that I understand like the waiting till after, but the making such a big show about that, the fact that they're waiting till after makes people talk about it more than if they were to just tell people right away. You know what I mean? Like it was more of a distraction because of how Adam Silver came on like the TNT panel and like had another press conference where he was just like, as soon as the season is over, we're going to be announcing the Ja Morant thing, but we're not going to do it until the season is over. Like, it's just kind of like, it makes people all like talk about it and speculate, what the punishment's going to be. So it wasn't that big of a distraction. It's not that crazy. Like, it's not like people can't pay attention to that and the finals at the same time, but
also, the thing that confuses me with the second one is he's being dumb, but it's not illegal.
I've heard that the information that the public has isn't everything that the league has.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. if there is a violation.
And maybe there's something with like NBA player rules and laws and things of those, because they have different rules.
It's definitely against the NBA's rules. Yes, what he did was violated NBA policy.
I know that's what he did with the first one, because you can't like have your own personal firearm on the road or something like that.
Yeah,
like you can't bring it with you to NBA sanctioned event or some weird. But also, what crappy friends John Morant has.
Yeah,
like use your phone, brother. Mm-hmm. One, going on Instagram Live, I don't get that. I don't get the vibe. But then he's like, and the second he was like, "Oops," I was like,
"Yeah, no."
Anyway,
I don't know. Especially after the first one happened. Just how about make sure whenever you're open up your Instagram Live, maybe just make sure there's no firearms around or no like.
And you don't even have to change how you live. Just only when you're on Instagram Live.
Yeah. Just don't broadcast it to the world. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Because he said he wasn't gonna fight it at all. He was just gonna go with the 25, and that will be it. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he released an apology, and it sounds like he's
remorseful.
Well, I doubt he wrote it, but
what if ChatGPT did? That'd be crazy.
That's what people think he did on the first one, because like somebody typed in like how to ChatGPT, like write me an apology that sounds like wrote this prompt for it, and it gave like word for word the same exact.
But that's apology. Not how AI works. It wouldn't give you the same one again.
ChatGPT, it could give you very similar results because it has the same learning database.
Yes. And also, if it was his PR team, because it probably was, if somebody at the PR firm is just hitting up ChatGPT, that ain't on jaw. That ain't on jaw at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But.
Yeah, also, if it was just, it's just like a generic apology. So, you probably don't need to type that prompt into ChatGPT that many times to get a result that's pretty close. Yeah. So then there's probably multiple people out there doing that.
One thing that so we never really done this, but one thing that I thought would be interesting is using the power of the internet to give more content for folks. I've found 5 realistic trades after the draft.
Okay.
Would you want to look at those, or would you want to skip that and do something else?
I'm okay with looking at that, but how about
I can't remember where we're at in our conversation.
Yeah, sorry. So that's why we just finished the All-NBA stuff, but we can touch on the other thing with this, which is the minimum games played required for awards now. I was looking so I think
to find earlier.
I think it's 65. I want to say
yes,
65 games required for like All-NBA, for MVP, Rookie of the Year, all those things, which I think is a good change. I do like that, to be honest, because the reason why I like it is because in the past we've always it's always been this like completely unknown variable or arbitrary thing that it's like it's always bothered me that people act like they know exactly how much to weigh games played. Like, to me, I've never known how to weigh that variable. You know what I mean? Like, this guy had a great season. This guy also had a great season, but this guy played 10 more games. How much should that matter? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? I just like that you're eliminating games played as a variable, because it's, if you're eligible, then who cares? You know what I mean? Like, you have 2 MVP candidates. Both of them are over 65 games. And so therefore you're just comparing their seasons regardless of how many games they've played, because you're like that. You're eliminating that from the conversation. I just like that, having that freedom to think about it more, just like straight up, their seasons, comparing them as players makes it less messy, in my opinion. But you had some opinions on this, didn't you?
I'm struggling to find, because something that I've seen a couple people bring up the argument of, it'll make the like load management just blaringly obvious, worse than it ever. Like instead of guys just not playing a game, they'll go in, foul immediately, or record a stat, and then go sit.
Like Drew Holiday did. Like
Drew Holiday did to keep the streak of like how games played in a row or something like that. Or
I don't think it was
McCall Bridges that did that. That
McCall Bridges has done that multiple times.
Yeah. Because that's all you just have to.
For those who don't know, Mikal Bridges is one of I think he's the only player in the league right now that's played as many years as he has that has never not played a game. So he's played every single game in his NBA career, and apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but
392 consecutive.
Yeah, but apparently people say that the narrative is, at least around him, that he hasn't missed a game going all the way back to grade school, like elementary school basketball. He's never missed a game with injury or sickness or anything. All the way through college, high school, everything.
He also got to play the 83 games this year with the Nets because he had the trade. And
Yep, so he got to play an additional game. Yeah. But, well, yeah, so that's pretty crazy. But, yeah, he had a couple games this year because he was injured where they didn't want him to lose that streak, so he just checked in for a few minutes. But
it wasn't even a few minutes. He started, fouled, and then left.
Was it that short?
It was like Sixers won the tip. He hugged and then went off the court.
Yeah, so it was like 2 seconds. 4 game clock seconds. Yeah.
Yep. Tip was one. Bridges ran over and just fouled Shake Milton, and that was it.
Yeah.
And he just walked off the court. Anyway, which is fine. But I just could see us seeing that happen with Kawhi or with, I guess, that's also, is that going to be Kawhi's legacy? Load management?
Yeah, probably.
When you think back at oh yeah, because that's the first name that pops in my brain when I think load management.
Which is sure. Yeah. No, yeah.
That's just an interesting topic. Anyway,
but I think they could probably get around this pretty easily with just setting a certain number of minutes requirement for not in terms of games played as a stat, but games played as it counts towards awards, what counts as a game logged.
So instead of it being games played, should it be minutes?
No, I just think it should be games played, but in order to log it to be eligible for a game to be logged as a game you played, it has to be at least I don't know, a quarter, 10, 12 minutes, maybe even less than that.
So then okay, it would have to be less than that because there's role guys that would just never play an NBA game stat-wise then.
Yeah, but you're not really worried about those guys for All-NBA and for... Because I said...
So you would have 2 separate games played.
Yes,
stats.
It's different than just a stat of games played.
Building a new category. Because games played is a stat that they track now.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not that. It's just for the awards eligibility. Being able to say oh, how many awards games have you played? That type of thing. But
okay. Okay, yeah, I'm tracking now. I'm picking up what you're putting down. They won't do that because that makes sense, but and maybe it won't ever be that big of a deal. I just feel like that will become a problem.
It could.
And what was the number they set it to?
65.
It was 65.
Either 60 or 65. Pretty sure it's 65.
I wish I would have went and looked and figured out if that would have affected any of the recent years.
Yes, it would have. Well, not the winner, but yes, it would have affected multiple All-NBA guys last year. But Giannis, who got third in MVP, and so there's some people voting him for first in MVP, he wouldn't have been eligible because he played 64 games last year, or 63, something like that. But if that was a rule in place, he probably wouldn't have played only 63. You know what I mean? There's probably a few in there that were just straight up load management that he probably wouldn't have sat out.
Oh, players, I guess there is one. Players must be on the rule for 20 minutes in at least 65 games to be eligible for honors. 20 minutes for 65 games.
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
There are protections against season-ending injuries, 62 games, near misses in minutes, 2 games of at least 15 minutes, and bad faith.
Can you start over the protections part you said?
There are protections against season-ending injury. So if you have a season-ending injury and you've played at least 62 games, you can. I don't know why that counts, but that would count. If your season gets ended early at the end, only. Weird. Anyway, near misses in minutes. So if you have at least 2 of your 65 can be 15 minutes only. And bad faith circumstances.
Is this
that does
real,
not have a description?
What you're reading?
This is The Athletic.
Okay,
written
I like
by
this.
Shams.
Yeah, so this is a lot more detailed than
This is real. I don't know how I didn't find this when I first Googled it. The other changes in the new collective bargaining agreement include an increase in the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, the cap room mid-level exception, blah, blah, blah. There's also a new second-round pick exception as the contract is able to start at the minimum salary of a third-year NBA player. This is all CBA stuff. Oh, so this is a story on the CBA.
Yeah.
But then it added the...
Well, the award stuff is in the CBA. That's where it's coming from. And the All-NBA positionless stuff.
And now I have to log into my account. But I'm not going to do that. So.
Sounds good. So the...
It's on my phone, but I don't want to look through my phone for this article.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because it's The Athletic, so you have to subscribe. Yeah. Gotcha. Well, I guess that solves that then. I like that they have that in place, the 20 minutes per game. Because, that's all you're worried about for... the only players you're worried about are players that are going to be playing at least that because, their awards... I guess other than... I don't know if that counts for all rookie. It might be a lower thing for all rookie, maybe. The all rookie team.
They just said all NBA or all NBA honor. I guess all rookie would be an all NBA honor.
Yeah. Because I kind of feel like a all rookie player should be able to be eligible when he plays like 18 minutes a game on a really good team,
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out is what this bad faith circumstances means.
Bad faith. Like, they're not being faithful to the rule. Bad faith circumstances, like they are manipulating the rules, like they're not being faithful to how the league is wanting it to work. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's kind of what it means. Like
but that's going to cause an uproar. Like I just visualize this.
Having that as a rule just means we are the arbiter. Yeah, we are the arbiter of what that means. It's kind of like Title IX, how schools use Title IX to mean whatever they want it to. Yeah. Because it's like one sentence long.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what it is. But it's like, that's scary because just visualize this. Let's say that this NBA season exactly happens next year. Joel Embiid wins MVP, plays in 66 games, and they go, bad faith. LeBron's the MVP because he's the next eligible player in voting. Or something crazy.
Why would they say bad faith?
I picked LeBron because that would be a name that people would get all flustered.
Why would they say bad faith? I'm asking. If they just call him out on something.
They just say it. They just say, you...
I think they have to give a reason.
It's the NBA. They're the arbiter. He checked out this number of times.
Yeah.
When they were a close game or something. I don't because that's what I mean. Bad faith. It's just terrible.
But I don't know why the league would do that, because if they were to do something like that, that would be harmful only to the league. Like to get, people's the approval rating of the league would go way down, which Adam Silver is like more than any other GM in sports
it's more
cares
the
a lot.
other way. It's more the other way is what they're worried about. Is a team benching a guy. So the Celtics benching Jaylen Brown if he was on the edge.
Makes way more sense, because that would incentivize teams to not, because they don't want their player to make All-NBA because they would have to pay him more money. So
it is the flip side.
That makes way more sense. That would definitely be an issue.
I don't know why my brain didn't do that until I started reading. Duh. Like that. guys that are close, and you just be like,
that's going to be hard to police, though.
I don't think it will be to a certain
the player
extent.
will know. The player will be like, no, I can play. My team's telling me not to play.
Well, no, or even if it's like it'll just have to line up perfect. Like, if a player, for example, we'll just use Jaylen Brown because he was on the fringe-ish this year. I don't know how many games he played. But let's say he's at 63 games. This is the year he'll need his contract extension. Everything lines up perfect storm. He's at 63 games, and we've got 5 games left. And let's say they're just all, like, hard games. We've got 2 games against the what. Anyway, I'm making this really too in-depth for no reason.
Yeah.
But if the Celtics are like, oh, well, we're only going to have Jaylen play 18 minutes each game because we're resting him for the playoffs.
Okay.
But it's like hard games that matter for seeding.
I see. You're setting up a scenario that is like very obvious. Like you see how there's a workarounds that are less obvious. Like that's not the least obvious way you can.
So they just do it way at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be hard to police. Is like
every time that you play a team that's not. Well, the thing is that like, I think it'd be too hard to hide. If you can do it and you can pull that off and hide it like that, because then it would be like whenever you play a team that's bad, you would just bench them. Because you couldn't reliably be like, okay, you need to miss only 20.
I think what makes it harder for teams to do that is the player being he has interest like opposed to them.
Get there. Yes.
Like so he's like if he can tell if the team is just trying to sit him out because they don't want him to reach the benchmark of games played.
Yes.
So that would create the issue. He would be able to report that or whatever. But
yeah.
So I think that's what kind of prevents it, probably.
For sure. Because my thing was like, if a team knows it's coming and tries, it would be so impossible to actually do that. And because like, let's say it's just, oh, there's a long stretch. Oh, we're playing, no disrespect, we're playing Washington. You're just not playing tonight. Even if you're 100% healthy, like early in the season, that's what just load management was.
Yeah.
Is guys would just be like, I'm just not going to play. It doesn't really matter. We're playing Washington. We're not going to lose.
Yeah, and maybe,
but then it adds up and it just gets close at the end. I just don't know.
Maybe it's a back-to-back. Maybe it's they have some tightness that's like it's something that they probably wouldn't sit out for normally, but they will in that circumstance.
But my question is, would a player, if this is a back-to-back game 14 and 15 in the season, does the player need to ring the bell? I feel fine. They're benching me now. Or can he do it at the end of the year? And then they just have to take his.
I don't know if they would take that because I doubt we see that stopping. People sitting their best players on back-to-backs. I think that's still going to happen pretty often. It'll be less often.
From a player perspective, would I need to like do something with the NBA Players Association the day like that they're benching me in this back-to-back? I feel fine. I don't have any tightness. I feel totally fine.
Maybe you would.
Will they have to do it at the moment, or document it, or could they do it at the end of the 82?
I would think they would. I would think they would try to document it so they would have something like if they at the end of the season, if they miss the mark, if they say, "Oh, there's a couple games I missed, but it wasn't because I wanted to. It was because team doctors or team training staff was telling me I needed to for back to back or for minutes load or whatever." Then they might be like, "Okay, well, then that's an excused circumstance or whatever, the bad faith circumstance." So it'd probably be something like that.
Yeah. And then the other thing is this going to make the big push of like, well, players just go see other doctors? You know what I mean? Because then that would cause like if you really feel fine. And I don't think that the NBA has this big of a problem as like people say. I don't think that doctors are like lying very often, if really ever anymore, because they know that the internet, they don't have a job anymore. If it comes out that they were like sending guys out that can't play basketball. And I'm sure with a lot of the competitive drive that these NBA guys have, doctors are probably like, we need you to not play.
Yeah,
like,
it definitely leans that way more so than the other way. Yeah. Other than if it's Kawhi. Kawhi is the only example of where team doctors have always been like, you're probably cleared. And he's like, no, I know I'm not. And he has a doctor that's like, no, he's not. You know, and it's like he's just always been like that. But
it just gets crazy when there's millions of dollars on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when things just get wild. But that's just the NBA, and that's just how it goes. But it'll be exciting overall. I think the new CBA will make the NBA weirdly feel like a very different. It's like you're playing 2K on a different set of sliders. It'll just be a very different, not the basketball itself, but everything behind it will feel wildly different.
Yeah,
with the aprons and the new mid-level exceptions and all that stuff,
and the new midseason tournament next year is going to be interesting. I still don't like. I can't even imagine what that's going to look like, but I feel like it's going to be cool to have something. Is it
all 30 teams?
I don't remember. I think there's like pool play
at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and then that creates like the seeding, and I don't know if everybody makes it into that bracket or not. But it's a single elimination bracket, and the winner of it gets some sort of every player gets $1 million. I want to say, or
that
maybe
plays in it.
Every player on the team that wins wins the championship of it. Wins the tournament.
Gets $1 million.
Gets $1 million. I think it's either $1 million or $500,000, something like that.
And then the way they worked it out, apparently the teams that play in the finals will play 83 games instead of 82.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So does that mean the scheduling in the second half of the year is flexed so you still play the right opponents?
Explain that.
So like in the NBA, you always play. And I'm going to mess up the numbers. But you play in the West twice. Division. You play the East. If you're in the East, you play the West twice, home and away, every team.
At least. Yes, at least.
And then you're in, is it 3 home, 3 away? So you play 6 total of the other conference. 5 in conference.
You play at least 3. In division is 4. So in division is at least 4. So sometimes there's a team that you play 5 times, but it's at least 4 for in division, at least 3 for in conference, and at least 2 for whole league. And the reason why some teams you face more times is because if you do all that doesn't add up to 82. There's some extra games that are spread out randomly.
Flex around and give us an extra.
Yeah. So you'll play
more
some
team matchup type of game.
Like the Nuggets, a lot of times will play like the Suns 4 times in a year, even though we're not in the same division. We're just in the same conference, but we'll play them 4 times. Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Scheduling is a wild, wild monster. But maybe that this like extra game just cuts into those wiggle room games, and it won't be that big of a deal and change really anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it does say that the team that plays in the mid-season tournament final will play 83 games instead of the 82.
Yeah, makes sense. And then what if they're in the play-in tournament? Then they got...
Oh, my nightmares. It's 500,000 also.
500,000. Okay, yeah.
It runs October through April.
Oh, really? That's really long. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
No, that's just the regular season, October through April.
Oh, the regular... I can't read. The NBA season tournament is scheduled to start November, and the end date is not official, but rumors are that they'll make the Final Four the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day games.
Oh, yeah. I think I heard that, too. Yeah. Which that would be good.
No, in December before the NBA Christmas Day. Because that would be BS if your Final Four games were wherever and you have a back-to-back on Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. That would be very not cash money.
Yeah.
To be Deuce Tatum when the Celtics win the first inaugural NBA in-season tournament.
That's
but
true.
It looks like it sounds like the Final Four will probably be in Vegas, so that'll be fun. Of the mid-season tournament. It'll be a cool deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be interesting. Oh, so it's like a neutral site, yeah.
Yep, it'll be cool. A neutral site. Oh, I guess I could just read the format. Each franchise will play a series of games that will determine the 8 teams that advance to the knockout phase. Final Four will likely be played on neutral ground, possibly in Las Vegas.
What about when Vegas gets a team here in a few years?
Sounds like they're playing at CHI Health Arena in Omaha, center of the country.
Oh,
Just kidding.
That's going to be the.
I'm trying to think of like a
site.
big indoor venue that would be cool. Honestly, I know that it's not a neutral site, but playing at Madison Square Garden, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. It could be like a rotating host city or whatever, kind of like All-Star.
Team loses the finals the previous year.
Lose just like randomly. Yeah.
Oh, you lost the finals. Here you go.
Yeah.
Or they built this in the middle of Kansas. This like just hold on.
What are you looking at?
At the Basketball Hall of Fame. Oh, that's in New York, though.
Yeah.
I thought it was in Kansas. Why do I think it's in Kansas?
I don't know.
Oh, because the founder of basketball died in Kansas.
Founder of basketball? Like the creator
the guy
of the
that
sport?
Invented basketball, James Naismith.
Yeah.
He died in Kansas.
He's from Canada. Montreal. So that's why there's a lot of people that claim that basketball was invented in Canada, which it wasn't. The guy who created it was from Canada. Yeah, he was from Canada, but he did it in America. He lived in America.
In Kansas.
Was it in Kansas?
In Lawrence, Kansas. While he was a person at the University of Kansas.
While he was a person at the University of Kansas.
Like I don't know I don't know if it was an educator or student. That's why I said a person, because I don't know which one.
Yeah, makes sense. But anyways.
Just kidding. He invented it in Massachusetts? What?
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was East Coast.
He was a PE instructor at the YMCA International Trading School in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Is YMCA, yeah. YMCA is where where basketball was invented.
He wrote the official rule book and founded the University of Kansas basketball program.
Oh.
After he moved to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
He also never went to University of Kansas. He went to the University of Colorado.
Yeah, but he just went to Kansas to start basketball.
He was also a bad head coach. Was 55 and 60.
What if he had bad players?
He went to Kansas.
But that was like who knows how good they were then in 18.
He literally invented the rules.
Yeah, but he might not have had the best players at the time. I don't know. Like, there's not guarantee that
I feel like that's fair. He just had a rough stretch early, but once he got cooking, he got cooking.
Yeah.
Not really. His best season was 7-4, which was his first year. He did go 12-7, but I think mathematically 7-4 is better than 12-7.
Yeah, it is.
And those are the only two winning seasons of his entire coaching career. He went 3-4, 4-8,
it's like
5-7.
It's very close. 12-7 is very close to 7-4 because 7-4 doubled is 14-8. 12-7. 12-7 might be better.
Points and a 57% wins.
Okay, 57% is the 12-7.
It's 4-7.
7-4. Yeah,
7-4. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway. Basketball hoop theory. That's just some theory.
Yeah, right there.
That's actually just facts. That's not theory. That's concrete information. According to Wikipedia, but concrete.
Yeah, so I guess that'll be enough for this episode. We could probably do that other thing next episode.
The 5 what is it? 5 realistic star trades after the 2023 draft. Hopefully nothing happens before we record our next episode. It is an article on Bleacher Report written by Grant Hughes.
Okay.
You can't look at it, but the people can as a teaser if they want to. But you can't.
I will not. The other thing I was going to say, though, a Chat GPT, I had this as an off-season idea also because one time I was messing around on there and asked Chat GPT for the consensus top 100 best basketball players of all time, and it gave me a list.
Was it a good list?
It wasn't bad.
Was it wild? Was there some names where you're like, wow?
I mean, I had disagreements with some parts of it, but like overall, it was really good. Like it was better than I was expecting. It was like very sound and like accurate to like what most like basketball nerds would probably say. I wonder if we
could do that and be like, give reasoning. Just add give reasons. after? And if it was like,
if you do stuff like that, it'll like I'll ask who's the better player between this guy and this guy, and it'll like write a essay basically to respond. It's interesting.
I've never messed with the AI anything, but that's how it goes. Anyway, I don't have anything else. Do you?
Nope. I think we're good.
I just realized what time it was. That's why I was like very like.
Yeah, I figured we'd probably want to wrap up here. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Check out the Patreon. Check out the shorts. Buy me a coffee. Do all that stuff. And stay happy.
That's
stay
James
healthy.
Worthy.
Yeah, James Worthy episode is in the books. Another one in the books. So next episode we got 43, which I don't know off the top of my head who it's going to be.
I know 47.
Yep, Andrei Kirilenko.
I know 44. I
Pete
don't
Maravich.
know. I don't know if Jerry West. Huh?
What number is Pete Maravich?
Oh, is that a tough one? My brain went Jerry West 44.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's like the logo.
Yeah.
NBA 43. Who wears 43? Who is it?
Probably not a lot of people.
Boy. Is there any Hall of Famers? I'm not seeing anyone with the asterisk claiming to be a Hall of Famer. What's the best name I see here? Oh, I've got it. It's disrespectful that we forgot about this man. You'll hear it at the start of the next episode.
Okay. I'll find out who that is after we close this off. So, but yeah, stay happy, stay healthy, and we will talk to you guys next episode.
Peace.